So we all know the controversial tidbits on Hogwarts Legacy, but let's put that on the back burner for just a second and actually talk about the game itself. I went into Hogwarts Legacy completely blind with zero expectations, which, in all honesty, is the best way to delve into any game in the modern day, and I will admit that for a long time I was like, pfft, Harry Potter, that's lame, only weirdos like that stuff who create their entire persona on the fact that they're a Hufflepuff, but Hogwarts Legacy managed to remind me that Harry Potter is actually pretty cool. The world and lore aren't necessarily the greatest in fantasy, but it's just a purely fun world to be in. Messing with enemies with different combinations of spells, exploring a random ruin, and solving all the numerous and honestly pretty appropriately challenging puzzles is just a blast. Although the world is mostly contained within the school at first, Hogwarts is so large and intricate that it never really feels boring to walk through. For the first few hours, I did nothing but explore the school, solving the puzzles along the way and making new magical friends. The game already feels large within the school, but then you get to leave and venture to Hogsmeade, which in all honesty does not have the same explorative depth that Hogwarts does, but that doesn't mean it isn't enjoyable to walk through and visit the different shops for collectibles or upgrade your crafting. At this point, I was sure there would be little left to see on our adventure, besides maybe the Forbidden Forest, but then the map just kept getting bigger. Various hamlets with different folk requiring assistance with evil goblins, trolls, beasts, and dark wizards with unique narratives are everywhere, and they aid you in seeing all the world has to offer, which I won't delve super crazy deep into because the fun of the game is the exploration, so I'll leave that for you to experience. Now, there were some criticisms around the launch of the game that looked at the spell count of Hogwarts Legacy and compared it to the likes of Elden Ring and Skyrim, and people were saying, those games aren't even about magic, and look at how many spells are in there. Right. They're not about magic. You have many avenues of building a character that arguably are better than using just spells. And even if you do decide to build a character around spells, you use maybe 2 or 3 spells at a time max. Of the many spells in these games, which I also enjoyed, so don't say I'm ripping on them, a majority of the spells go to waste as they are ineffective at best and are just there for flavor or filler. In Hogwarts Legacy, sure, you have less spells in those games, but I've used nearly every single spell regularly while playing through the game. Different puzzles require certain spells, certain enemies will be susceptible to specific combos of spells, and some can't even be damaged without being set on fire by relevant spells. They are all useful, and you will use a majority of them. Now, there is a sort of asterisk applied to this since a handful of spells are only used for your room of requirement, which, if you haven't gotten there yet, is like a customizable home base to raise beasts and craft, farm, get herbs, make potions, upgrade your gear, all that fancy stuff, but you will still use them a ton when going into the room. If anything, I think there's a lot of instances where even if you get the talents for getting more spell loadouts, you almost need a 5th one because of how often you'll need to swap to a different purple or red spell for different situations. Now, my favorite part of any RPG or video game in general is dripping yourself the hell out. I'll use Hogwarts Legacy as an excuse to bring up a near and dear topic of cosmetics in games. Many people nowadays consider cosmetics to be unimportant to a game's overall enjoyment, and in all fairness, sure. Cosmetic items don't add to the actual mechanics or stats of your character in any game, ever. But to say that cosmetic items don't attribute to the gameplay and overall enjoyment of your experience in the game is objectively wrong. I saw this mask in a challenge tree for a combat in Hogwarts Legacy, and as soon as I saw it, I needed it. So I sought out to achieve the highest challenge tier to unlock it so I could be this goofy little fella who kills the most evil of wizards with cabbages, and was definitely an enhancement to my enjoyment of the game. Being able to get goofy or funny or even just really cool looking cosmetics or gear in general can make a game more fun and give you a reason to do something in the game other than just play it or pay $20 for it. It feels good to do a series of challenges and get a cool item for doing those challenges, and a long time ago, cosmetic items were a means of showing that you accomplished something in your world of pixels. Many RPG and adventure games don't offer as many gear pieces or cosmetics as I feel they should nowadays, but Hogwarts Legacy brought back an almost nostalgic bit of gaming for me and even included a fairly generous amount of ways to customize both your character and even your room of requirement. Some games, like Assassin's Creed, have included paid skins that very obviously outshine the in-game achievable items, which just feels kinda gross. And shooters are, honestly, they're too far gone at this point to match the armor sets that Halo 3 offered as rewards for achievements. But honestly, shout out to the devs of Hogwarts Legacy for including fun challenges with equally fun cosmetics to earn while doing so. That being said, Hogwarts Legacy is a truly refreshing AAA breath of air in a landscape where AAA titles are truly unremarkable. And I hope that more games put an effort to include as much just for fun type of content into games. Also, I totally forgot that WB Games actually makes pretty good games with a few hiccups here and there, like Back 4 Blood, which, to be fair, is not really WB Games since they just published them, but the Batman series, Shadow of Mordor, Mad Max, Hogwarts Legacy, they're all genuinely pretty fun, and it's weird that it comes from them. I don't know why, it just kind of feels weird. But really all I'm trying to say is, the game is fun. If you like adventure games, this hits just about every tick mark, so I'd recommend it, and just a reminder to many who seem to not understand the concept of not liking things, if you play Call of Duty only, or play whatever's popular at the moment with no sense of what you actually like in games, it's okay to not like something when trying it, but it doesn't mean you have to try and make others not like it, because you don't.